this episode of the New Brunswick Adventures, Robyn and I tour the Fundy Iles. The Fundy Iles are made up of 3 major islands: Grand Manan, Campebello, and Deer Island. We see whales, fish lobster, and tour the home of the American president who summered in Canada.
Grand Manan is the largest island in the Bay of Fundy. Of course, the only way to get to Grand Manan is by ferry, which departs from the mainland at Black's Harbour.
We're going to Grand Manan!
Grand Manan, they got good air. It can grow some hair.
Glen is about to get a crash course on how to run this ship. Maybe I shouldn't have used the word crash.
Yes, my vehicle's all secure. We're heading to Grand Manan Island, my first time. In fact, this is the Grand Manan 5, the one and only ferry that runs 4 times a day, 365 days a year. Seems like a real sturdy ship. In fact, I've been lucky enough to be invited to drive this puppy. I'm heading to the bridge. Take me to the bridge. You're the second mate. Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Thanks for letting us up on the bridge.
Sure.
So what's going on now? We're heading over.
Yeah, we're on our way to North Head, Grand Manan.
Is there any possibility I could maybe try driving?
Yeah.
What do I gotta do? Here
This is the steering wheel.
Okay.
Up here we have 2 rudders, so there's rudder indicators up above here.
Okay.
Right now it's on manual. There's 163 now. It's pretty close to 164, but just give it just the tiniest little bit of rudder.
Okay.
And if you let go of it,
So if I turn,
so
if I turn it this way, it's gonna go that way?
No. If you turn it this way, it's going to go that way.
Okay. So
it's the same as what your rudder would be.
Okay. So I don't. Can I turn this now? I don't want to hit into that guy.
Watch your rudder indicator just a little bit. That's good. Don't keep going. Just keep it. You hold it right there on 5 degrees. It won't go any further. You just hold it right there. And you feel it coming around.
Yeah.
Just let it go midship. That's right in the center.
Okay.
There you go. Right here, we have what we call Fundy traffic. Everybody's familiar with air traffic control. Well, it's similar, but it's only for ships.
Okay.
And right now, we're actually crossing a line, an invisible line, and it's a call-in point. So I have to call up Fundy traffic and let them know where we are. Fundy traffic, this is Grand Manan 5, we're at checkpoint 2 Papa, ETA for North Head, 55 minutes.
The crossing only takes about an hour and a half. And it is advised that all passengers be at your terminal an hour and a half in advance of your departure.
Ships ahoy.
The Grand Manan 5 is a fully serviced vessel, including elevators and cafeteria. A pretty comfortable ship.
Way different than the canoe and the kayaks that I have. Anyway, I got to get down to my car because we're just about to land in Grand Manan. We're going to see one of the most beautiful islands in the world, only New Brunswick. Let's get to the car, Grand Manan, whale watching, and a whole bunch of scenics.
Grand Manan measures 34 kilometers and has a maximum width of 18 kilometers. There is spectacular scenery at every point on this island. But what draws visitors to Grand Manan is the wildlife just beyond its coastline.
One of the main attractions when visiting Grand Manan Island is whale watching. I'm heading out with Whales and Sails Day Adventure this afternoon to check out some massive whales. Let's head to the Bay of Fundy.
This is the 60-foot sailing yacht, the Elsie Minota. We're heading to deeper waters in the Bay of Fundy, and you will see a wide variety of birds on this trip, including puffins. But the most exciting part of this trip is seeing the rare North Atlantic right whale. There are only about 350 right whales left in the world. In the past, these whales were almost hunted into extinction, and today the right whale produces an alarmingly low number of calves. What is so amazing about whale watching on Grand Manan Island is that although there are very few right whales left in the world, you'd never know it, because in the short period of time that you are on the water, you will see dozens of these massive mammals rise to the surface.
So what we just caught a glimpse of here, Alan, was the North Atlantic right whale?
Yes.
How big are these whales?
Typically they're 45 to 55 feet long. 55 would be a big one.
A big one. And are they friendly? Very friendly, or?
They're kind of apathetic as far as us.
Right.
They're here. They don't really pay much attention to us. We go around about them. And in fact, that's one of the things that gets them into trouble is that they lie around in boats. Boats can hit them. That does happen. It's one of the biggest risks that these whales face today is either ship strikes or entanglement from fishing gear. Originally, what the big threat to them is whaling. They were the right whale to hunt. The guy that was up in the crow's nest, he would yell out, "There's the right whale," because that was the one that was desired.
So what do these whales feed on?
These animals feed on a very specific prey. It's called copepods. It's a plankton. It's smaller than a sesame seed.
Whoa.
And they have legs, or like a little crustacean. They will eat krill too, but generally the copepod is what they feed on. And they have really long baleen in their mouths. They don't have teeth, they have long baleen, and it's in rows, rows. The center of their mouth is open. There's no baleen in the center, so when they swim through the water column, the water's passing in through their mouth, and it's going out through the sides of their mouth, and it's the sides of the mouth that has the baleen. And it's a hairy-like material, same as your fingernail, same material as your fingernail and hair, and it's a hairy, feathery-like material, and that, as the water passes out through that, it collects the plankton, and they lick that off with their tongue.
Making the trip to Manan Island to go see the whales is most definitely worth the trip. The boat was surrounded by them all day. Still to come on the New Brunswick Adventures.
Hey, my first lobster!
My first lobster!
Yes!
He's a pro! Woo!
Welcome back to the New Brunswick Adventures. Our Fundy Iles experience continues.
A local day adventure service provider, Wayne Sturgeon, takes me out on a trip in the morning in Manan Island to see some of the fantastic wildlife and scenery. And I get to do a bit of lobster fishing too.
This is quite an experience. I've first time visiting here, and it's one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. I've traveled quite a bit, and you offer services out of here. Tell us a bit about your services.
We show them some of the most beautiful sights on Manan, like the Swallowtail Lighthouse here. It's coming here in 1860, built here in 1860. And we give people an experience of how the herring fishery works. And we're going to haul a couple of lobster traps today. And also on top of that is that we take people out to the ledges and show them where the seals are. And the seals come up real close and personal, and they pop them around like beavers, you know, and they puff at us and they go. We go to the salmon sites and we show you how the aquaculture fishery works there.
I heard you have lots of big lobster here.
We do have lots of big lobster here. Of course, people say they like the smaller ones best, but yes.
Well, take me to them.
Oh, good. We're on our way.
Gunner, Wayne.
Bring me the lobster, Wayne. We're gonna bring them, buddy.
So this is a trap here?
Yes, sir, it is. And it's a demonstration model. With it is a shore crest and the lodge, which is our business partner. And it says very clearly on it is demo, because this is for demonstration purposes only, since our lobster season is closed. It doesn't open from the second to Tuesday of November till June the 29th. Okay. So we're going to haul it by hand. Now we approached this here, the tide is flooding right now. So we approached it from up above, and we will chase this here line to we'll chase the line right up to the tide here.
What can I do? You want me to hold this?
Oh yeah, sure.
You want me to pull on it?
You can pull it if you wish. Sure. All right. Bring her up.
Hey, my first lobster.
My first lobster.
Yes.
He's a pro.
Woo! Whoa, I got a lobster on Manan Island.
Still to come on the New Brunswick Adventures.
This is a male. Now if this is a female, these parts will be light and feathery.
Welcome back to the New Brunswick Adventures.
And I am having a complete blast lobster fishing off the coast of Manan Island with Wayne Sturgeon, my host for the morning.
Good. So do you want me to grab him?
Yeah, now, grab him here.
Uh-oh, he's clamping.
He's resisting already.
You're resisting me! Don't resist it!
Okay. Well, that's a lobster. Now, what you do...
He's doing a spread.
Don't clap it. I don't like it. Don't.
Okay, so show us what you do here, Wayne.
When a fisherman gets a lobster...
You want me to let him go?
Yeah, did you let him go?
Okay.
Okay. When a fisherman gets a lobster, the very first thing he does is that he takes his measure here, and he measures from the eye right back to the back here. Okay.
Yep.
And then when he does that, if it slides over the back, it's too small, and he throws it overboard.
Okay.
But if it's big enough like it is, he'll grab it, and he'll band the lobster, and he throw it in the box. Now there's a few other things he's got to check as well. First off, he's got to check if it's a female. This is a male. Now if this is a female, these parts will be light and feathery. Now if it was a female lobster, if it turned out to be a female lobster, we would have to check the tail here, and if there was any notches anywhere in that tail, we'd have to let her go. It's a conservation measure. Now when a lobster comes in, he doesn't come in forward. He comes in from the back, just like he does in the wild. And see, the reason why is because in the wild, he goes in a little hole and he backs himself in so that he can protect himself with his claws, and he can reach out and grab food. Now when he comes in, comes up through here, he drops in and he feeds upside down on that bait. So once he feeds on this here herring, what he does then, the lobster, is that he goes to each corner, on the bottom, then on the top, and sometimes he splashes around so much he finds the hole again and he gets back out. Okay. Now lobster, when he can't find any exit here, he's like the rest of us. He likes to try to find the easy way out, and he'll come up through here backwards. When he comes up through here, he'll drop, and there he'll stay, hopefully, until the fisherman comes and gets him. Now each fisherman is allowed 375 traps, and he's given a tag for each trap. And that's what. And each lobster trap, as I said before, maximum can be is 48 inches long, and the maximum of 36 inches wide. No height maximums for the trap.
Each tag for the trap, meaning that 370. If he drops 375 traps per day, he can check those traps once daily, or as much as he wants during that time span.
As often as he wants to.
Okay.
Now, in the fall of the year, when the season first opens, the lobster are just starting to leave the bay. Then they're very heavy and very concentrated. Okay. So he hauls them every day. Okay. Okay. And then in the winter time, he hauls them once a week. If the weather will allow him. Mm-hmm. And then from about April, May, June till the end of the season, 29th of June, he'll haul them usually 3 times a week.
So are we going to have this one for supper or breakfast?
No, I'm afraid we're going to put it back in the trap, and so that we can show other people how this lobster fishery works.
You're lucky, buddy.
Yeah, you're lucky. Yes. See you tomorrow.
I bet you is. See you tomorrow. Your pet lobster.
He's my pet lobster.
Anyway, I'm going to throw him back. You got a name for him?
Oh, yes. Yep. We call him Lester.
Lester
the lobster.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ready to go? Okay. Are there any sharks in here?
Oh yes, there is, but nothing too much to worry about.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, the statistics say that you're more likely to get killed in your car on the way to the beach than get a that shark attack.
Well, I'm not going to the beach today. See you later, Lester.
Yeah.
Take her easy, buddy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this ends our Manan adventure. Robyn and I are now back on the mainland catching another ferry. We're leaving from St. George to Deer Island, en route to Campebello. In order to get to Campebello, you have to take a ferry from Deer Island and drive across this small little island and grab another ferry.
You can skip the ferry process and get to Campebello via bridge. However, the bridge is located in the United States. Although Campebello Island is part of New Brunswick, it is in fact much closer to the town of Lubec, Maine. It is here that the island is connected by the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Bridge. FDR, America's 32nd president, and Campebello Island are synonymous with each other.
Well, here we are. This is our second ferry today. We left from St. George in the mainland of New Brunswick. We headed to Deer Island, took a short ferry ride, and now we've left from Deer Island. We're heading to Campebello Island. Campebello Island is famous because of the summer residence of the former President of the United States, Roosevelt, FDR. Very, very famous place in New Brunswick in the Fundy Isles. I've always wanted to come here or go there, and I'm getting my chance today.
Campebello is only a small island. It measures 14 kilometers long and about 5 kilometers wide and has a population of a little more than 1,000 people. And for such a small island, there is an endless amount of natural beauty around every corner. But this small little island off the coast of New Brunswick is best known as a summer getaway for one influential American president.
Well, after a couple of ferry rides, we're finally here at Campebello Island. This is President Roosevelt's summer cottage, and I'm heading on in to take a tour. So this is the master bedroom where President Roosevelt fell ill with polio, am I correct?
You're right. This is also the room where their son, Franklin Jr., was born in 1914.
You figure that this is probably one of the nicest views in the world, or for sure North America.
Without question. I've worked in a lot of parks, and by far this is one of the best. I think it rivals anything on the East Coast.
Welcome back to the New Brunswick Adventures.
Robyn is visiting Campebello Island in the Bay of Fundy. This is the home of the Roosevelt Campebello International Park, a memorial to the American President Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
From 1883, when Roosevelt was only 1 year old, until he was stricken by polio in 1921, he spent most of his summers on Campebello Island.
Roosevelt's mother, Sarah, purchased this cottage for $5,000, and in 1909, following her death, the cottage was left to FDR. It is now a memorial to one of America's most cherished presidents.
The cottage was built in 1897 and has 34 rooms. FDR is the only American president to serve more than 2 terms in office. Many consider him to be one of the most influential presidents in the country's history. Perhaps the most interesting fact about Roosevelt was his battle with polio, a battle which began right here on Campebello Island.
Roosevelt would be confined to a wheelchair until his death on April 12, 1945, at the age of 63.
So this is the master bedroom where President Roosevelt fell ill with polio, am I correct?
You're right. This is also the room where their son, Franklin Jr., was born in 1914. They had 6 children. One died as an infant, so they raised 5. The oldest was a girl, and then the rest were all boys.
So how many bedrooms in all on this floor?
On this floor, there's 12 bedrooms. We also have a schoolroom on the other end of the cottage with the children's bedrooms. Behind me, there's 4 guest rooms, 4 servants' rooms, and 2 half baths as well.
Now this is the schoolroom where Eleanor and FDR's children would come each day for their lessons. They had a tutor with them, and at the end of the day they would recite what they'd learned to their parents.
The Roosevelt Campebello International Park is more than just a memorial to President Roosevelt. The fact that this small Canadian island played such a large role in the development of this American icon and his family signifies a close relationship between the countries of Canada and the United States.
So this is Manan Island right here?
Yes, it is. Those white structures, one of them is the lighthouse for Manan.
And FDR and his family used to sail over here?
He did, and he taught his kids to sail. They would make trips over there often, and when they were young, actually would dig for treasure when they were there.
What a view. Holy gee. So here we are, Skip. We're at Liberty Point on Campebello Island. You say, and you work for the National Parks Board in the United States, you figure that this is probably one of the nicest views in the world, or for sure North America.
Without question. I've worked in a lot of parks, and by far this is one of the best. I think it rivals anything on the East Coast.
Out of all the places that man could come and set up a cottage, why did he pick this place?
It was all because of what you see. During the time that they were building the resorts and just before the turn of the century, many people were stopping going to Europe for vacation to get to cooler weather. But the people that came here to Campebello came because they liked being outdoors. They liked sailing and canoeing, hiking and picnicking. You'll see the rocks that are here, and if you will look at some of the old pictures, you'll see President Roosevelt, before he was president, climbing on the sides of the rocks. It offered something nowhere else offered.
Campebello Island has some of the most unique scenery in New Brunswick, including this massive beach at Herring Cove Provincial Park. This spectacular mile-long pebble and sandy beach is a great place to breathe in the fresh air rolling in off the Bay of Fundy. Unfortunately, our time on Campebello Island is nearing the end. Robyn and I are checking into the Lupin Lodge for a night's rest before we head back to the mainland. Many people can say they have gone island hopping in the Mediterranean, Caribbean, or the South Pacific. But how many people can say they have hopped the islands of Fundy? A collection of islands at the mouth of the Bay of Fundy, the Fundy Isles are part of the province of New Brunswick and are connected to the mainland and each other by ferry. The Fundy Isles' only connection to the mainland is the Franklin D. Roosevelt Memorial Bridge at Lubec, Maine, the easternmost town in the United States, which brings travelers to Campebello Island. And when you visit the Fundy Isles, make sure you have your camera ready. Around every turn is spectacular scenery. You can visit the Fundy Isles by getting on the Fundy Coastal Drive, one of the province's most scenic routes. This was our first time visiting the Fundy Isles, and it won't be our last. What an incredible place. On behalf of Robyn Audet, my co-host, and myself, Glen Ferguson, we invite you to our great province, New Brunswick, Canada's East Coast experience.